As the night grew darker and the wind howled through the trees, I huddled closer to the campfire. We were a group of 3 friends embarking on a weekend hiking trip in the remote wilderness. Little did we know that our journey would turn into a nightmare beyond our wildest imagination. These are the 3 terrifying true horror stories from that fateful trip. The Whispering Shadows. It was a crisp autumn evening when our hiking trip began. My friends, Mark, Sarah, and I set off on a weekend adventure in the heart of a remote forest. We were eager to escape the hustle and bustle of city life and immerse ourselves in the tranquility of nature. After hours of hiking, we found a suitable spot to set up camp near a dense forest. As the sun dipped below the horizon, we built a campfire and sat around it, sharing stories and laughter. The crackling flames danced and cast flickering shadows on the surrounding trees, creating an atmosphere of warmth and camaraderie. As the night grew darker, a subtle change in the air sent a chill down my spine. A sense of unease settled over the campsite, causing us to exchange worried glances. The rustling leaves and distant hoots of owls added an eerie touch to the already unsettling ambience. Attempting to shake off our apprehension, we nestled into our sleeping bags, ready to surrender to the embrace of sleep. But that was when it began the whispers. I jolted awake, my heart pounding in my chest, as a soft, unintelligible murmur filled the air. It seemed to emanate from all around us, as if the very trees themselves were speaking in hushed tones. Panic welled up within me as I realized my friends were also stirring from their slumber, wide-eyed and alert. "Did you hear that?" Mark whispered, his voice laden with fear. I nodded, my throat too dry to form words. We listened intently, straining our ears to decipher the source of the unnerving whispers. But they remained elusive, as if they were intentionally taunting us. Sarah's voice quivered as she spoke up, her words barely audible. "What do you think it is?" Before we could respond, the fire dwindled, casting elongated shadows that danced around the campsite. Darkness enveloped the forest, and an oppressive silence replaced the earlier chorus of night sounds. Fear clawed at my chest, urging me to take action. I fumbled for my flashlight, my hand trembling as I clicked it on, its feeble beam slicing through the inky blackness. "Stay close," I whispered, my voice betraying my anxiety. We ventured into the forest, our footsteps crunching on fallen leaves and twigs. The whispers grew louder, now distinctly audible, as if the unseen presence drew nearer. It felt as if 1,000 eyes were watching our every move, their gaze burning through the veil of darkness. A chill wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it a voice that did not belong to any mortal being. "You shouldn't have come here," it hissed, its tone dripping with malevolence. I shuddered, my skin prickling with dread. We pushed forward, our hearts pounding in our chests. And then, as if guided by an unseen force, I stumbled upon a small clearing. The moon broke through the clouds, casting a pale glow upon the scene before me. My breath caught in my throat as I beheld the sight Mark and Sarah, standing motionless, their faces etched with terror. Their eyes locked onto mine, pleading for help, yet they remained incapable of uttering a single word. Shadows writhed and contorted around them, taking on shapes that defied logic. They elongated and twisted, their movements unnatural and grotesque. It was as if they were puppets in the hands of an otherworldly entity. Driven by desperation and fear, I lunged forward, grabbing Mark and Sarah by their arms. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I pulled them away from the encroaching darkness. We ran, our feet stumbling over roots and rocks, our minds consumed with the singular purpose of escaping the whispering shadows. To this day, I am haunted by the memories of that night. The whispers echo in the depths of my mind, a constant reminder of the terrors that lurk in the heart of the forest. The haunting mist. The second day of our hiking trip dawned with a sense of excitement and anticipation. The air was crisp, and the forest beckoned us with its lush greenery and winding trails. We set off on our journey, eager to explore the hidden wonders that awaited us. As we trekked deeper into the heart of the wilderness, a sense of serenity enveloped us. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the gentle gurgling of a nearby stream created a symphony of natural beauty. But little did we know that this picturesque scene would soon give way to a haunting mist that would forever etch fear into our souls. As the afternoon wore on, the temperature dropped, and a dense fog began to roll in from the distant hills. At first, we thought nothing of it, attributing it to the natural ebb and flow of the weather. However, the mist grew thicker with each passing minute, obscuring our vision and casting an eerie stillness upon the landscape. Unease settled within us, a gnawing feeling that something was amiss. The mist clung to our bodies, seeping into our clothes and chilling us to the bone. It was as if the very air had transformed into a haunting presence, its icy tendrils reaching out to embrace us. We exchanged anxious glances, our footsteps slowing as we hesitated. Should we turn back? But curiosity, coupled with a touch of recklessness, urged us to press forward, to unravel the mystery that the mist concealed. Visibility dropped to mere feet, and our surroundings became a hazy, ethereal realm. The once familiar trail transformed into a labyrinth, disorienting us and blurring the line between reality and the supernatural. Time lost its meaning as we stumbled blindly through the ghostly white abyss. The world beyond the mist ceased to exist, leaving only the haunting silence and the oppressive weight of the fog that surrounded us. Whispers, faint and indiscernible, danced on the edge of our hearing. They whispered secrets and promises of hidden truths, their voices carrying an otherworldly cadence. We strained to listen, desperate to understand their cryptic messages. Sarah's voice trembled as she spoke, her words barely louder than a whisper. "Do you hear that?" The voices. Mark nodded, his face pale. "They're everywhere, surrounding us." I could feel the mist closing in, its suffocating touch engulfing us. It was as if the very fabric of reality had been woven into this spectral haze, trapping us in its ethereal grip. In the midst of our disorientation, a figure emerged from the mist. A silhouette barely discernible, yet undeniably human. It beckoned to us, its outstretched hand inviting us to follow. Fear intermingled with curiosity, urging us to heed its call. Step by cautious step, we approached the figure, our hearts pounding in our chests. The whispers grew louder, guiding us, or perhaps luring us deeper into the enigmatic realm. But just as we reached the figure, it dissipated into thin air, leaving us stranded in the heart of the mist. Confusion and despair washed over us, our hopes slipping away like the ethereal tendrils that surrounded us. Suddenly, a voice, neither human nor ghostly, echoed through the mist. It reverberated in our minds, a chilling command that sent shivers down our spines. Join us. Surrender to the mist. Though fear clutched at our hearts, a spark of defiance ignited within us. We refused to succumb to the haunting mist, to become lost like the lost souls that had been swallowed by its embrace. Summoning every ounce of strength, we retraced our steps, battling against the swirling fog that threatened to pull us deeper into its clutches. The whispers grew angrier, more desperate, as if realizing their prey was slipping away. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we emerged from the mist, gasping for air as we fell to our knees. The oppressive fog dissipated, leaving us battered and shaken, but alive. We retreated from the forest, forever scarred by the haunting mist that had tested our resolve. The memory of its chilling touch and the echoes of those otherworldly whispers would forever be etched in our minds. The eyes in the darkness. Our hiking adventure had taken us to a desolate mountain range, far from civilization. The rugged terrain and the promise of untouched beauty drew us to this remote corner of the world. Little did we know that we would soon encounter a terror that would forever haunt our nightmares, eyes lurking in the darkness. The sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the landscape as we set up camp near a serene mountain lake. The air was crisp, and the scent of pine filled our nostrils. We reveled in the beauty of nature, unaware of the horrors that awaited us under the veil of night. As darkness settled, we gathered around the campfire, its warm glow pushing back the encroaching shadows. Stories and laughter filled the air as we shared the camaraderie of the wilderness. But as the night deepened, an inexplicable unease settled over us, as if we were being watched by unseen eyes. A flicker of movement caught my attention from the corner of my eye. I turned, my heart skipping a beat, and there, in the distance, I saw a pair of glowing eyes. They were mesmerizing and eerily human-like, burning with an otherworldly intensity. I alerted my friends, and we watched in terror as more pairs of eyes materialized from the darkness, encircling our campsite. Their glow intensified, casting an unearthly luminescence that pierced through the night. Fear clutched at our hearts as we realized we were no longer alone. The eyes watched us, unblinking and malevolent. We whispered among ourselves, debating whether to flee or confront this sinister presence. But the intense gaze of those eyes held us in place, trapping us in a macabre dance of terror. The forest grew unnaturally silent, devoid of the nocturnal symphony we had grown accustomed to. The crackling fire seemed to diminish in brightness, its warmth fading as if the eyes were siphoning its energy. Dread settled over us, like a heavy shroud threatening to suffocate our souls. Unable to bear the tension any longer, one of my friends succumbed to panic. Without a word, he broke into a sprint, disappearing into the enveloping darkness. The remaining of us were left paralyzed, uncertain of the dangers that awaited us. With trembling limbs, we made a collective decision to follow our friend's trail and escape the haunting presence. Fear propelled us forward, our senses heightened as we navigated through the labyrinth of trees and underbrush. As we fled deeper into the forest, the eyes pursued us, their glowing gaze an unyielding beacon of terror. They seemed to be everywhere, watching our every move, guiding their unseen owners closer with each passing moment. We stumbled upon a narrow, winding trail, our only hope of finding our way out of this nightmare. We ran along the treacherous path, branches clawing at our faces, sweat mingling with tears of desperation. But just as it seemed like our efforts were in vain, we burst out of the forest into a small clearing. Moonlight bathed the scene, casting an ethereal glow upon our haggard forms. We collapsed to the ground, gasping for air, grateful to have escaped the clutches of the eyes in the darkness. However, our relief was short-lived. We realized our friend who had fled ahead was nowhere to be found. He had vanished into the night, swallowed by the sinister presence that had haunted us. Haunted by guilt and the image of those glowing eyes, we returned home, forever scarred by the horrors we had witnessed. We vowed to never speak of that fateful night, but the memory of the eyes in the darkness continued to haunt our dreams, a constant reminder of the terrors that lurk in the unseen corners of the world.